This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, C-suite, and senior level executives share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders share ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
My name is Jennifer Miller. I am the CEO of Access Destination Services. I lead a $125 million organization that provides hospitality services and licensing. We provide destination management services, which is in the hospitality sector. We are one of the largest destination management companies in North America.
Holy cats, have you been doing that for some time?
I've been doing it for just a little bit of time, about 22 years.
So you're new here.
I'm relatively new.
Gotcha. Well, good. Well, I'll be excited to hear some of your ideas that you have to share with us today. Question number 2 for you. What's the best thing about leading people from your perspective?
I think the best thing about leading people is that you get to help them do 2 things. I think you get to help them realize what their goals are, and I think you also get to help them achieve those goals. And so I think the realization to me is kind of where the magic is, because I think you get to help people see outside of themselves and see really maybe more of what they're capable for than they can see just within their kind of their own 4 walls of their mind. And so I love that side of it. And then obviously being a part of someone's goal pace when they're actually hitting and achieving their goals, to me that's kind of the frosting on the cake.
Yeah. I love how you talk about the 2 sides of it, because you can't, accomplish or do what you don't know. So
Right.
like really recognizing who you want to be and where you want to go is critical to success.
Yeah, and Stacey, you've been a part of our culture, so we're a big goal setting culture. And we actually kicked off our meeting this year, and I brought out goal sheets from our team members that were like 15 years old and read them out loud, which was really cool for people who are newer to our organization to hear maybe what someone on my team's goals were 10 years ago that seem like, when you look at where they're at today, that's really, I think, it's just such a cool part of this organization. It's been a part of our culture from the very beginning.
Oh, that's so beautiful, because it goes right to that how you eat an elephant 1 bite at a time, right? Yeah. Or like that measurable progress in reasonable time, that again, yes. It's all a journey, right? Yeah. This like little bit by little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so great. That's so great. Well, question number 3 for you. I often hear from other leaders that business would be great if it weren't for that pesky people part. Tell me your thoughts about that.
Well, I mean, I guess we all have days where it feels like that. But I think that's where the meaning comes from. I think people create meaning for us. I think very few of us actually get meaning out of the tasks. And to me, I get the meaning out of the relationships that I build with team members. I mean, I've heard you say this more than once or twice, Stacey, any one thing too much can also be your greatest strength and then your weakness. And I think that's obviously plays a part of the question that you're asking. And so I think people are by far the highlight of what we do, but I also think that they also provide sometimes the greatest amount of challenge in what we do.
Yeah. I think as leaders, it's, that's our gift, right? Is who do we get to become as a byproduct of those challenges, which we lovingly call opportunities.
Well, I think we love it, but I think that's where the greatest reward comes from. It comes from the relationships, and it comes from watching people grow over time, or watching someone accomplish something that maybe they wouldn't think that they could do otherwise. I think that's why we're in it. I think if you're a leader and you're not inspired by the people aspect of it, it potentially might not, maybe there may be another calling for you.
That's great self-awareness, I think, for those folks that are out there listening and kind of thinking right now, is this the right thing for me? And, do I keep butting my head up against the proverbial wall? Or am I just even not in the right spot, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's a great point, because it is also, I think, some of the most humbling, work that we do also. And I think it does require you to be really honest about where your own strengths and weaknesses are, and being clear about that. That's a tough thing to do, because their work, their work and their reflection of what they do is direct reflection on the impact that you have in their life. And so, I've had a lot of leaders that I've worked with in our organization that come back and they want to report the news. I'm like, I got news for you. If the news is bad, it's a direct reflection. And so I think, yeah, that I think is a really humbling, it's a humbling experience. It's, I find a lot of it very similar to the same experience I have often with my kids from time to time.
That's a whole nother podcast, Jen.
Okay, all right, we'll get to that another time.
But we should do that one too. Exactly, parenting and leadership.
There you go.
All right, question number 4 for you.
Yeah.
What other successful business leaders like yourself should be on the podcast? Who else should people be listening to and are paying attention to in their communities?
I think there's a great job in our community are the folks over at WD-40. And I don't know if you've talked to anybody there, but I recently sat in, they asked me to come in and sit on a panel for a group that they were putting through a leadership training. And I worked with 2 or 3 people there in their HR department. And I think that is a company that is getting it right today. They're engaging their people, they're asking questions, they're being thoughtful about their purpose and direction. And that's who I'd be talking to today.
Was their HR department still co-chaired? They had a co-chair that was basically in charge of their HR, really demonstrating and leading the way of what this job sharing could look like.
You're right. It started that way, but I think over the last 2 or 3 years, it's changed. I think their role has evolved so much that they've both taken on full-time positions.
That's great.
But it is the same 2 people, actually, I believe.
That's hilarious, because I've watched them for better than a decade do exactly what you're talking about. So great recommendation. I will definitely encourage folks to go check out the team over at WD-40. There's a lot to pay attention to over there.
Yeah, yep.
Question number 5 for you. What piece of advice about communication would you give to other leaders?
I focus on the 3 C's here: consistent, clear, and compassionate communication. I think if you can check those 3 boxes, I think you need to be consistent, because no one wants to work for a company that feels like it has corporate ADD. It's hard for people to wrap their head around what they're doing and, really what they're trying to accomplish. I think clear helps people know whether or not they're achieving those goals. It helps, you can create small little benchmarks along the way and people remember what they're trying to do. And then I think compassion is really important. And I think sometimes we have really high expectations for people, but understanding that we all, I can't put my belief system on you, nor can you put yours on me. I think, as leaders, we have to remember that there's a high level of compassion that we have to demonstrate when we're dealing with each other and with anybody in our organization. So I like the 3 C's.
That's beautiful. Tell us about your favorite boss or teacher. You got about 49 seconds.
Okay, so this one took me a little bit of time, but I actually think, because it's been so long since I've actually really had a real boss, and I can't hardly remember what school was like, but my favorite leader was probably my past business partner. And he'll probably be really surprised to hear this, but I think it was because he allowed me to really rise up as a leader, and he provided me with tools he was consistent, he was clear, and he was also really compassionate with me.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, shout out to Chris. I know he's a good guy out there. So, well, thank you so much for being on the show, Jen. How can people find you? Because I'm sure some folks are going to want to reach out and get to know you better. How could they find you?
Yeah, you can find me at www.accessdmc.com.
That's great. And this is Stacey McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast. For more insights and ideas, please go to www.concilioteam.com, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you.